Hi people, so I did some more testing with OpenIPC and wanted to show you the results. On the left side you can see the Oculus Quest 2, which I used as FPV goggles this time. I installed the pixelpilot app on it via SideQuest, and attached to it you can see the TP-Link Archer T4U Wi-Fi stick, which has given me great results so far, always. You can also see that I taped off the camera lenses on the virtual reality goggles. The electrical tape is just holding in place some half-transparent foil I put in front of the cameras, acting somehow like an ND filter or sunglasses for the VR goggles, because otherwise when using them outside the camera view will be way too overexposed and the motion tracking won't work anymore, which doesn't let you control the VR goggles. And here on the right there's my FPV quad as it used to be with the Runcam Wi-Fi Link 2. I am running 120 frames per second for this test to get the best latency and 4 Mbits. Yeah, and now you will be able to see some footage I recorded through the Meta Quest 2 or Oculus Quest 2 goggles. What you can see here behind and behind and left, right, top, bottom of the image, which is black right here, was actually the camera view, but the Oculus Quest 2 cannot record the camera pass-through, or at least not easily, so I just had to upload it this way. But actually it looks way cooler because you can not only see the FPV image but also your surroundings in black and white using the Quest 2, which gives you somehow a sense of like a cinema, or like there's a huge screen hovering in front of you, and that's actually really cool. I don't think that the Quest 2 really recorded in 120 FPS because the recording looks kind of stuttery when I see it here in editing, but that wasn't the case during flying. Yeah, and I have to say that is so far my favorite OpenIPC setup. So as you can see in my last videos, I already tried using the pixelpilot app on my phone. I used the Runcam Wi-Fi Link VRX module on my Fatshark HDO goggles, both with the OpenIPC and Ruby FPV firmware. Ruby FPV were my last videos, but now I switched again to the OpenIPC or SBC ground station firmware because it seemed to have a little bit better image quality in terms of exposure and camera settings overall, as well as a tiny little bit of lower latency. And so this is what basically brought me back to the OpenIPC or WFBNG firmware, however you call it, I don't really know. But it gave me a better flying experience. And yeah, you can see I'm cruising around a bit here. The latency is not as good as DJI still. I also flew the DJI 04 on a toothpick right after or before this video, I don't really remember, and from this I can tell that the latency is a bit lower on this one, but it's totally flyable and it's better than what I have experienced with the Runcam Wi-Fi Link VRX module and my Fatshark HDO goggles. And I also tried using the Meta Quest 2 goggles with a capture card and HDMI in, so there's an app you can load onto the Quest 2 goggles which allows you to use a capture card. I used the HGBIS one I ordered off Amazon because that was recommended by a lot of people who wanted to use HDMI in on their Meta Quest 2 goggles, and it worked fine. It's limited to 60 FPS and full HD, so 1080p. So I used the HGBIS capture card in combination with the Wi-Fi link VRX from Runcam. But for this video, as I already told, it's just Archer-D4U Wi-Fi stick, because the Runcam Wi-Fi link VRX and HDMI input via capture card only on 60 frames per second have given me higher latency, and I kind of prefer lower latency over 1080p. So because this Wi-Fi stick has given me great reception so far, about as good as the Wi-Fi link VRX from Runcam, I just use this one. So here you can see me going behind this tree line, and there were no breakups at all. Haven't enabled adaptive link in the pixelpilot app yet. I know that it is possible now, but I haven't really tried it. When I was flying really low above ground level, like in my last videos, I already mentioned it, the ground gets kind of smeared because of the low bitrate, but I imagine that this would be better if I use adaptive link. But overall, during my whole flight, I only had a breakup once. It was very short, going behind a tree, and the flying experience was quite okay. Latency still could be a bit better. It seems to be a bit better using the Quest 2 goggles in combination with the pixelpilot app on 120 FPS compared to my Fatshark HDO goggles and the Ruby FPV firmware on the Runcam VRX, that's for sure. Here's another video. I think I also did some tiny little bit of freestyle somewhere in this. And just as a quick addition to this video, here's the HGBIS capture card that you can also use to get HDMI input for the Quest 2 goggles. This also enables you to use the Ruby FPV firmware on, for example, the Runcam VRX together with the Quest goggles, because this doesn't run with pixelpilot and only with a standalone VRX module and HDMI output. So overall, I really enjoyed the flying experience using the Oculus Quest 2 and the pixelpilot app together with OpenIPC firmware and the Runcam Wi-Fi link 2. That's the option where I got the best latency up until now. The phone app on my S25 Ultra smartphone, the pixelpilot app, seems to be a little bit better. I was getting 40 milliseconds on this on the bench. This here seems to be a tiny bit slower because I feel that it's more latency than with DJI still, but it's a whole lot better than with my Fatshark HDO goggles and HDMI input. And I think it might even be at least even or maybe a little bit better than with the HD0 box goggles I was able to try it with the HD0 box goggles once, and I remember that the latency was not better or not much better than with this one right here. So HD0 box goggles in combination with the Runcam Wi-Fi Link VRX and HDMI input, of course. So if I had to decide on which goggles to get right now for OpenIPC, I think I would get myself the Meta Quest 3 and use it with the pixelpilot app on 120 frames per second. Maybe this even has a bit of better processing power than the Meta Quest 2, I don't really know. I won't be able to try it anymore because the Meta Quest 2 was only borrowed, so I had to give it away again, but it was a pleasant experience and I'm looking forward to see how this will continue.